So, personally, I would like to start off the new year by wishing a merry happy birthday to the engineering vehicle. Wait, what do you mean, Andrew? And happy birthday to the... No, I'm getting that, let me cook. So, the engineering vehicle, originating in TRO 3026, which includes... They introduced a bunch of the vehicles we know and love, like the Warrior H7 attack helicopter, or the ever-lovable Hetzer, or the good old reliable Maxim heavy hover tank and whatnot, or even the Savannah Master, which, I mean, needs no introduction. This Savannah Master swarms or the stuff of legends and nightmares, and yet nobody wants to field one against me for some reason. Come on, guys, I'm ready, I'm willing. I will gladly fight a swarm of Savannah Masters. Anyway, originating in TRO 3026, the engineering vehicle is one of the lesser known units in TRO, one that doesn't really get talked about much, despite most other units in this list being well-known staples in the Battletech fandom as a whole, many of these having gotten an official CGL model with the newer Kickstarter. Insert image here, insert image here. This is one from that TRO that I haven't seen many people talk about. I think I'm the only one in my local group who's ever fielded it on the table. So, this video is going to act as a short highlight of why we should at least acknowledge and appreciate the engineering vehicle, because I believe in both Alpha Strike and Classic, it serves a niche. Is it good? Probably not. In many cases, no. But it serves a niche. And if I've learned anything from my recent tournament, second place winning, given the depth of scenarios and the depth of unit lists and just so many things you can do within the setting, there will be some point where the engineering vehicle happens to be exactly what you need. So, I actually the engineering vehicle first became known to me when I was just messing around on the master unit list, because I was looking for another way to fill out a few points in an Alpha Strike tournament. I already had a model printed and prepped of just because I was using it as an objective piece in a campaign game, but then I saw its stats, or specifically the stats of the engineering vehicle Flamer on the master unit list. And I want to make a case for unironically fielding the engineering vehicle. Because, like, I mean, let's pull up, what's a standard battle armor everyone uses? The Inner Sphere standard. So, let's take a look at the stat line of the engineering vehicle. Pretty self-explanatory. For 7 PV, you get a size 2 unit that moves 12 inches with a damage value of 0, 0, and 0. Of course, that's not what you're using it for. The most important thing is, you see this keyword? This is a combat vehicle that has the melee keyword on a unit that moves 12 and is size 2. So it can do a melee attack for 3 damage in a 2-inch radius. That is not insignificant, and especially with its mobility and 2 TMM. If you like sprint behind hard cover on turn 1, you can feasibly punt something at least once in a game, and if it hits one thing once for 3 damage, it's probably paid itself in. The engineering vehicle Flamer is the one I've used in tournaments the most, because for an extra 2 points, you get 1 point of damage at short, and then and as well as 1 heat damage at short. That does increase your total threat radius to 6 inches rather than the 2 of the melee keyword, but you can still punch with this. I've unironically used this to good effect. This is the one I've used in actual tournament lists, never as the big point of my list. It's just I basically use it as another threat, mild threat, but that will punch above its weight if ignored. So basically it's 3 damage they have to do at TMN2 at an ideally inconsequential time, and it's just notable because it's Innosphere General, Periphery General, Mercenary, and even Wolves Dragoons. Almost anything but the clans have access to this, so this is quite notable, especially, and I'm here to argue that you should unironically consider the engineering vehicle, at least in comparison to the Innosphere Standard battle armor. I have Squad 5 open, but let's pull up Squad 4. I think that's a more accurate comparison. As you can see, the engineering vehicle ends up having both the IS standard battle armor and the engineering vehicle have 1 point of armor and 2 points of structure. Both deal 1 damage at short and 1 heat at short. But the Innosphere Standard Battle Armor costs 5 more points, a near 50% point increase. Yes, the Innosphere Standard is battle armor that can be deal anti-mech attacks, but the anti-mech attack, or you have a chance to deal 1 damage, chance to deal 1 heat, and then a critical hit on top of that. I would argue that the just flat 3 damage from the engineering vehicle's keyword, especially because you can deal it in a radius of 2 inches and not just base to base, as you can do with the battle armor. I think that's actually a quite comparable trade. Yes, the Innosphere battle armor can jump, which basically adds, and battle armor can jump at no firing penalty. So it's basically always at TMN 2, except it's not always at TMN 2, it's always at TMN 3, because battle armor also has an innate +1 defense. That is where you're paying the extra 50% cost, but I would argue the engineering vehicle, just in the fact it can move so much further, and it basically does not need the transport in order to do that. That actually makes these two quite comparable to each other. And I think, or at least for me, I found that the engineering vehicle comes out quite ahead, because if you can basically field 3 engineering vehicles for the price of 2 battle armor, or IS standard battle armor, and at least 3 engineering vehicles will always win against 2 battle armor. That's not the most realistic comparison, but I think my point stands. And you could even just shave a few more points if you also, side tangent, the engineering vehicle is also the cheapest unit to have the Eng keyword in Alpha Strike. Yeah, at 7 points. There was some weird maxing again, the Dark Age. There was some weird industrial max that you can get for like a point cheaper, but I don't think it's Innosphere General. You could consider this, but this also melees. But no, against the Carbine, it moves, compared to the Carbine, the engineering vehicle moves faster, and actually does 1 more point of damage in melee. So it's like, the engineering vehicle is one of the cheapest and most available ways to get the engineering keyword. What does that do? I have no bloody clue, but I'm sure that will matter to somebody sometime in some weird scenario-based tournament setup. I'm definitely going out of order. Most people would start with the Sarner listing, but I'm just going through this from my perspective, from how I've used it, how I got into this. Then there's the engineering vehicle AC variant. Now the AC variant is weird, because if we check the Sarner article, introduced in 2050, this model has all of its standard equipment removed in favor for Class 20 autocannon with 1 ton of ammunition. This variant is intended to clear obstructions. You're getting an AC-20 for 420B battle value. In the Alpha Strike, that actually that translates. It does go back up to 14, which is the same points value as that Innosphere Standard Battle Armor I was comparing it to earlier. This engineering vehicle, unironically, it's just not a bad stat line, all things considered, because like, I've seen a lot of people make use of Scorpion tanks, or specifically the Scorpion SRM, and I mean, basically, the engineering vehicle autocannon basically trades a special attack keyword. Compared to the Scorpion light tank, the engineering vehicle trades a point of armor, a way to be able to move up 10 inches and gain the extra TMM, and gain an extra size, which might matter depending on what your tournament objectives are. And you make that while having the same damage profile in exchange for basically one more point. Sure, it loses out on the turret, but once again, I'm not saying it's a great unit. I'm saying this is a unit worth considering as an interesting side grade to these, if you're fielding a Scorpion light tank as a cheap dork, well, with no long range damage. So yeah, now you're probably wondering, Andrew, you just rambled on about the stats on Alpha Strike for like 15 minutes. Why are you, how does this relate to that? I'm getting there. Looking back to its Sarner article, we can see no weapons, it moves 6'9", it's a 40-ton thing, it has, usually includes bulldozers, trenchers, cutters. I will pull up Megamech later and show you, it's equipped with a backhoe in the turret, which is where it gets its melee keyword in Alpha Strike, with a lift hoist mounted in its rear. It's protected by like a paltry 2.5 tons of regular armor, but it's unique in that it was actually, this thing was introduced in TRO 3026 because and that back when TRO 3026 came out in the ripe old year of 1987, they didn't actually have support vehicles rules built, so this was built as a standard using standard combat vehicle rules, meaning it has full bar armor and just gets to make use of the good tech. Not whether it uses that well is a different question. The other Cannon 20 variant is what, as we mentioned earlier, removes all of its standard equipment and puts a class 20 autocannon in. For 423 battle value, that serves a niche. I'll show it on Megamech later. Titular engineering vehicle Flamer. Its Asana entry reads: This ancient variant, which was first introduced in 2025, includes a backhoe in the front of the vehicle. The vehicle features 4 vehicle flamers, 2 forward, 2 in its turret, where the Flamer variant is intended to clear out vegetation. Yeah, post-recording Andrew here. Later in the Megamech section, I noticed discrepancy. The Sarna page said it had 4 vehicle flamers, and the Megamech said it had 3, and that was wrong. And so I actually went to the Sarna Discord, stated an issue, and then we actually got this confirmed. We actually got confirmed that is a typo, a mistake on the Sarna page, and now if we go there, we can see that this has been updated. Yay, I found something. You're welcome. 2025 probably seemed like a very far off future for the people originally writing the TRO 3026 back in 1987. But as you can clearly see at the time of viewing this, the future is now, old man. So yeah, canonically this was invented this year. Happy birthday, engineering vehicle! I think this might be the earliest canonical unit available, with the exception of like the TRO 1944. I'm gonna open up Megamech and double check that now. So yeah, pulling up Megamech. Where with the engineering vehicle, it's a unit I would say you can unironically consider fielding an Alpha Strike. In Classic, I would say it's a lot more of a meme. Even still, being the meme, even as a meme, might serve a purpose for you. Of course, in any narrative game where the backhoe or the lift hoist or any other engineering equipment you put on it serves a purpose. Yeah, no, that's great in that regard. But if you're like playing a random pickup game, probably won't do you good. But let's take a look anyway. Uh, it weighs 40 tons, with a movement speed of 6'9", and has a battle value of 194. It has a the engineering vehicle has 8 points of armor in each location. That's basically enough to take a medium laser, maybe a neon medium laser, but not much more. It dies to a good solid attack from almost anywhere. But hey, if you're playing really low BV by any chance, this might be enough. It has a backhoe in the turret and a lift hoist in the rear mount. You don't care about that. What you do care about is that this is a 40-ton unit that goes 6'9". You could put this at like 5'3" or something, and for about 200 battle value, and then just charge people with it. If you were to be charging with this, assuming, let's say you made it a reasonable distance of like 7 hexes, or no, you know what? No, even 6 times 4. You'd be charging for 24 damage, confined to specifically an enemy's legs. For 200 battle value, maybe and for 200 battle value and with some good positioning, that might unironically serve a purpose for you. It's still a meme, but it's a niche. Flamer variant is much the same. Basically, for another 2 battle value, you get. I don't know if this is a bug with Mega Mech or a problem with Sarna. This is something I'm gonna have to investigate later. Because Sarna says it has 4 flamers, Hewitt says it has 3. I'm gonna have to check that. Assuming you print it off of Mega Mech, you'd have 3 vehicle flamers, 2 in the turret, 1 in the front, and then a backhoe. For an extra 2 battle value, maybe this might matter for you. It's just the major downside is, cool, now we have 0 armor on the turret. I'm not sure why they did that, but I'm guessing this is a artifact of how the combat vehicle construction rules changed from the original printing of 3026 to some modern time. If y'all want to see a investigative video on how stuff like that evolved over the years, let me know. The engineering vehicle autocannon variant is the one I would recommend you. It serves a niche. It serves a niche of being the cheapest AC-20 you can get on the field without expanding into what's it called? Towed AC-20 field guns. Because if you check, you can see that it is the cheapest AC-20 in Intratech by a not insignificant margin. It goes 5. It's an AC-20 at 5.8. Somebody's gonna find a use for that. Yes, you can get the Predator tank destroyer of another 50 BV with armor, or at least frontal armor that can do something. Or you can jump all the way up to 574 just to get a Hetzer, Hetzer Beloved, which will probably live long enough to fire more than 2 shots, where the engineering vehicle AC probably won't. But this one goes 5.8, is the cheapest by far, and I'm sure somebody somewhere this will be useful to you. And if it is, by God, by all means, please let me know. It's unironically, if you're playing a defensive mission where you start with hidden units, you could probably just put an engineering vehicle, start it hidden, and then have it stumble into you, and it pays itself in with a good AC-20 shot. Once again, for that specific situation, you might unironically be better off with an urban mech. But still, I think that's it. So, as one of my greatest inspirations as of late would say, why do we love the engineering vehicle? For me personally, I just found it a interesting unit. It serves a decent niche in Alpha Strike builds, and it's always a memorable moment when I get to bring it out and it actually accomplishes something. In universe, it serves as, well, an engineering vehicle, serving roles, building, digging trenches, carrying stuff around, anything you might find useful in such a regard. That That is something that is rarely reflected in tabletop games, but it's a nice bit of flavor if you bring it in a campaign game. In Classic, it's mostly a meme, but it's a meme that has enough of a niche to stand out. Maybe maybe you'll find a use for it. So yeah, I don't know, I just like it. I like the model I have for it. I got it 3D printed. I don't know, it's just an interesting tidbit that that I'm one of the few people I think who have actively know this thing exists. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Damn, it's been a while. I haven't made many videos lately. I've been just swamped with other things. Hopefully I get to do more stream of consciousness with things I found on Master Unit list type videos like this. In practice, well, we'll see. This might be the only video I get out for another 6 months. Thank you all for all the support. Let me know if you have any interesting stories about how you've used the engineering vehicle in your games. Take care of yourself, guys. It's a rough world out there, and take care of yourself first.